Tonight on Texas News Primetime,
the University of Texas is implementing a new AI master's program.
the Director of National Intelligence makes an appearance at UT.
And tragedy strikes Pakistan again.
All this and more coming up on Texas News Primetime. Tonight on Texas News Primetime,
the University of Texas is implementing a new AI master's program.
the Director of National Intelligence makes an appearance at UT.
And tragedy strikes Pakistan again.
All this and more coming up on Texas News Primetime.
Good morning, good evening, welcome to Texas Primetime for Monday, January 30th. Real moody.
And I'm Kevin Bosker. Thank you for joining us tonight. UT Austin has announced classes will be canceled and employees will work remotely where possible tomorrow due to potentially icy road conditions. J2 and Kins campus dining halls will adjust its hours for tomorrow's operating from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. UT will continue to monitor these conditions and will make a decision for Wednesday's operations by tomorrow evening. Additionally, the Moody College of Communication has postponed tomorrow's Career Expo and will reschedule at a later date.
A suicide bomber in Pakistan killed at least 59 people and left over 150 others wounded on Monday. The attack occurred at a mosque within a police compound in Peshawar, a city in northwestern Pakistan. While Pakistan Taliban commander claimed responsibility for the attack, a spokesperson later said the group does not target religious places.
Students, staff, and faculty can now skip the trip to HEB with UT's recent partnership for the grocery chain on-campus delivery. Orders placed online will be delivered by favored delivery drivers who now have designated spots on campus. Executive Director for Corporate Relations Kelsey Evans says that this is a step that will ensure all Longhorns have access to affordable nutrition. The university is also developing a new online master's artificial intelligence degree. In partnership with the online education platform edX, at least less than $10,000, this will be the cheapest degree of any kind available to students all over the world. Professors from computer and data science online programs will attend South by Southwest EDU 2023 to discuss the future of online education. One UT student will also get the chance to win an all-expense paid ticket to South by Southwest Film Festival in March. Primetime on-campus reporter Ennio Longue spoke to organizers of the Texas Union Film Festival about what they can expect from this year's event.
For Primetime Local,
unlike most film festivals, Kaylee Johnson was excited to hear the Texas Union Film Festival had no submission fee in 2022.
It was originally sent to me by a friend of mine who's also a filmmaker, and he was like, you should submit. And I'm like, okay, how much is it? And they're like, it's free. So I was like, absolutely, I'm going to go submit.
TUF is able to remove the entry barrier because as part of Showtime, a student organization under campus events and entertainment, they get budget allocation from student tuition.
Showtime is like a committee that we show films. So like we show films, every film we show, we have a budget and we had to be kept under the budget. So we have budgets saved for TUF and for the rest is saved for films.
For the 14th edition, TUF is looking to showcase UT's tradition of student filmmaking and connect students with the Austin film community.
We also have judges that aren't like UT affiliated, they're in the Austin community. So I've gotten Andy Volk, I believe is Austin Film Festival, like a lead programmer. And then Austin King works with Fantastic Fest at the Alamo Draft House.
Post-COVID, organizers are looking forward to more submissions and lots of enthusiasm from attendees.
For right now, we have 20 submissions. From what I've heard, people usually submit last minute, so I'm sure there'll be a flux like right near the deadlines.
Johnson, who has won a Lone Star Emmy Award, started submitting to film festivals in her junior year of high school and encourages others to take advantage.
I'd say someone should just go ahead and submit because there's really no downsides to doing it, and it's a good way, if you do get in, to just kind of see where you are amongst your peers.
In Austin, Eniola Longe, Texas News Primetime.
For Primetime Local, a Northwest Austin shooting left 1 dead and 4 injured in Austin's 8th homicide this year. Police responded to reports from a hookah lounge Saturday night and are now investigating the incident. This comes following a series of mass shootings across the country that have killed at least 69 people in January alone. California has seen 6 mass shootings this month, including the Monterey Park incident that killed 11 and the Half Moon Bay incident that killed 7. This past Thursday, the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, had a sit-down discussion in front of an audience at the Lady Bird Johnson Auditorium located on the UT campus. During the discussion, Haines was asked about the recent TikTok ban on university networks and the safety revolving around the app. Here's a look at her response.
As you look at companies that are collecting the kind of data that you described, they are holding that data someplace. China has certain laws that require them to provide them with access under certain circumstances to data. And what we see increasingly is, frankly, a variety of authoritarian governments using digital data to engage in kind of a form of digital repression.
While Haines touched on hot-button topics like that of TikTok, the one notable topic Haines did not touch on was the recent findings of classified documents in President Joe Biden and former Vice President Mike Pence's residences. Haines did not take questions from the press following the end of the discussion. Austin nurses gathered at Ascension Seton Medical Center's administrative offices on Thursday to protest the industry's prioritization of money over nurses and patient care. The Candlelight Vigil was part of a larger nationwide protest to highlight the issues nurses are facing and was part of a National Nurses United's National Day of Action.
For Texas News, this past Saturday, the 2023 Rally for Life was held at the Texas Capitol. This event celebrated the overturning of Roe v. Wade on the 50th anniversary of the original Supreme Court decision. Anti-abortion activists marched in walk to the Capitol to recognize their fight to end abortion. Governor Greg Abbott spoke at this event, and attendees recommended his anti-abortion legislation. A Salvadorian migrant was shot and injured in the stroller by a member of the Texas National Guard. The incident occurred on January 15th in the Rio Grande Valley when Guard members entered an abandoned home overtaken by migrants, and the man attempted to flee the scene. This is the first incident of its kind since the start of the Operation Lone Star back in 2021. The man was released from the hospital the same day, but his current location remains unknown. Earlier last week, a tornado ripped through southeast Houston as severe storm weather occurred throughout the greater Houston area. Vehicles, homes, businesses, and chemical plant took damage from this tornado. And damaged power lines left over 80,000 customers without power. No injuries or deaths have been reported, and the American Red Cross has opened a shelter for storm victims.
For Primetime Nation, Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, announced in a press release last Wednesday they would be unbanning former President Donald Trump from their platforms in the coming weeks. Trump has been suspended indefinitely from the platforms following the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol. In a Truth Social post the following day, Trump condemned Meta for having banned him in the first place. 5 Memphis, Tennessee police officers have been charged with second-degree murder along with several other charges following the death of Tyree Nichols. 67 minutes of body cam footage released on Friday shows Nichols, a 29-year-old black man, being chased and beaten by the officers the night of January 7th. He passed away in the hospital 3 days later. 6 officers have been fired from the department, and their unit, known as Scorpion, has been disbanded. In Florida, 25 individuals have been charged with wire fraud after they were alleged to have sold over 7,000 fake nursing diplomas and transcripts. These documents would allow individuals to sit for National Nursing Board exams, where if they passed, could have been qualified for positions in the healthcare field.
And we'll be back with STEM in business after the break.
I'm Hope Vanderberg here at TSTV News headquarters, and you're watching Texas News Primetime.
Welcome back to Texas News Primetime. Joining me along is Mr. Texas himself, Mr. Nick.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Would you like to hear about the word of business?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Well, newly elected House Speaker Kevin McCarthy states that he's, quote, looking forward to discussing with President Joe Biden a reasonable and responsible way that we can lift the debt ceiling, end quote. The two plan to both raise the debt ceiling and address spending cuts. However, Speaker McCarthy pledged that cuts to Social Security and Medicare would be off the table. The White House, however, has made clear that Biden does not want to undergo policy concessions in exchange for lifting the debt limit. The talks between the two leaders come after McCarthy was elected, following 15 ballot votes and overcoming holdouts from allies within the GOP. Either way, these talks will be a test on the bipartisanship between the GOP and the Democratic Party. In other news, Texas legislature is reconsidering the legalization of casinos and sports betting. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick continues to strike down the idea, but support continues to grow in favor of its legalization, which is in part being led by the Sports Betting Alliance, a collection of betting platforms, professional sports teams, and fans with goals to legalize and regulate sports betting. The team has also seen support from Governor Greg Abbott and Texas State House Speaker Ted Felton, both of whom expressed openness to expanded gambling, with the spokesperson for Abbott stating, quote, if there was a way to create a very professional entertainment option for Texans, Governor Abbott would take a look at it. And lastly, Intel shares are continuing to drop following yet another quarter of losses. The company's revenue has declined for the fourth period in a row as demand fell in the consumer and educational market. Intel has also had weak demand for its current products due to inefficient internal performance, as well as competitors in the market. As a result, Intel is planning to cut about $3 billion in costs as they move into 2023.
Appreciate Nick coming on. We are going to talk about STEM news in a few seconds. Nick, well, I guess Mr. Texas, go take STEM.
Yeah. sorry, neuroscientists at MIT have been hard at work while researching how how our brain tells us how to start. All right, stop doing something immediately. They discovered that our brains and the brains of other mammals are not wired to transmit a simple stop command, but rather it operates through a more complicated signaling system based on the principles of calculus. Through signaling mice to start and stop running on a treadmill, the researchers found that the basic mechanics of calculus, which are integrals and derivatives, allow our brain to determine when the best time to stop and start movements. Researchers at Dell Medical School have also been researching the impacts of multiple sclerosis in older patients. Multiple sclerosis, or MSIS, is a disease that affects the body, brain, and spinal cords and can cause vision loss, pain, fatigue, and impaired coordination. It's important to understand that the impacts that MS can cause patients of all age groups. However, there is little known about how MS affects patients over the age of 50. Dr. Leora Freeman is leading the research, says that the program is meant to help deliver care that is specific to those over 50, and educating them on the challenges that MS will pose as they continue aging. And lastly, Alex Wilchigo is a research scientist at the Google and CEO of tech startup Osmo, is using AI systems to create new scents by feeding a predictive model a data set of 5,000 scent molecules that have been commonly used before and how they would be described by a human. For example, the machine would be given the scent of a rose and note that it smells floral. From there, they gave the machine 400 scent molecules designed by scientists but not yet assigned a scent description, such as fruity or woody, and asked the model to predict what each molecule would smell like to a person. The goal of this is to come up with lab-grown and human-made alternatives to scents so the fragrance industry can aim to become more sustainable and no longer have to rely on harvesting plants and animals.
Thanks, Nick, for coming on, and we'll come back after the break for sports news.
I'm Mal Lambert here at TSTV News Headquarters, and you're watching Texas News Primetime.
Welcome to Press Box on Primetime. Joining us today is Ethan Ferguson. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, Kevin. Thanks for having me. Always happy to be here.
All right, well, I'm just going to get straight into it. What happened with Texas sports?
So starting off for football in the NFC with conference championship football, it was the Eagles and the 49ers. And this play right here, Jalen Hurts rolled out and delivered a phenomenal pass to Devontae Smith, who makes an exceptional one-handed grab. Miles Sanders eventually punched it in for 6. Later in the first, Niners quarterback Brock Purdy injures his arm on this hit. The play was called a fumble, and that results in possession returning to Philadelphia. Now on their 4th-string quarterback, veteran Josh Johnson hands the ball off to Christian McCaffrey, who finds a gap, takes a hit, and crosses the goal line to tie the game at 7. The Eagles use their run play to their advantage as Hurts hands the ball off to Sanders for his second touchdown of the game. Eagles up 14-7. And they didn't stop there, winning the game comfortably 31-7 to advance to their 4th Super Bowl in team history. In the AFC, it was offensive powerhouses Chiefs versus Bengals facing off. After a slow start trading off field goals, Patrick Mahomes delivers to Travis Kelce. But Joe Burrow responded quickly with an absolute bomb to T. Higgins in the corner of the end zone, tying the game at 13. Former Longhorn Joseph Ossai cost the Bengals a Super Bowl appearance with this late hit against Mahomes, and the Chiefs went on to win with a field goal 23-20. And a perfect segue to Texas sports, number 10 Texas basketball traveled to Knoxville to play number 4 Tennessee in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. The Volunteers ended up on top 82-71. And in Texas women's basketball, they improved their 3-win game streak, defeating Oklahoma State 78-69. The Longhorns are tied for the best conference in the record in the Big 12, and with Iowa State sitting at 7-2.
All right, let's track back to the NFL. What could we expect from the Super Bowl this year? What are your predictions? I mean, the Eagles won. I think that was your prediction the entire week, right?
Yeah, I had the Eagles, but I also had the Bengals, so I was incorrect there. But I'm hoping to be right this time. You know, we got a few more weeks until the Super Bowl actually kicks off, but I'm predicting this time, you know, I'm switching my gut. I'm going with the Chiefs from now on.
Really?
Patrick Mahomes, he's been dealing with that ankle injury for quite some time now, but with the time in between their previous game and the Super Bowl coming up, I think Mahomes will have just enough time to heal and will be able to perform just as well. So I'm taking the Chiefs.
We'll see in 2 weeks. Now, I mean, of course, we saw that final, like that penalty that's caught. I was like so sad when I saw that because I was rooting for the Bengals as well. But what can we expect from Joseph Ossai following his penalty late in the game? Like, what do you think?
Well, you know, he was receiving a lot of criticism after the game for making that play. You know, he's a young player. He's only 22 years old, so he has a lot of career left in him. And I personally think that something like this happening early enough in a player's career, that is just the fuel that they need to take their game to the next level. So I'm expecting big things from Joseph Ossai in the future, and you know, we have all the hope in our Texas alums.
And of course, hook 'em all the time. Now we're going to make a drastic switch all the way to men's and women's basketball. Like, what do they have to do moving forward to have a good of the rest of the season?
So there's a lot of games left in the season for both the men's team and the women's team for Texas this year. Both of them have been doing really well, and they got some big games continuing in the future. So basically what the Longhorns need to do now is just stay healthy, stay committed to their training, and you know, work together as a team and try to get as many wins as they can. And if that's the case, then we might see some pretty good things for the Longhorns in the future.
Cannot wait, and for sure. And well, thank you so much for joining, Ethan. And after the break, we'll catch up with entertainment with Angie Santos and Rue Moody. Stay tuned.
I'm Julia Mia at TSTV headquarters, and you're watching Texas News Primetime.
Welcome back to Texas News Primetime. Let's take a look at our very own Logan Duval and Kevin Meyer's package on UT's recent TikTok ban.
Hey everyone, I'm Logan Duval with TSTV, and we are here on campus asking students about the university's move to ban TikTok on its Wi-Fi network. Some say it's a big deal, others not so much. Here's what they had to say to us.
I know other universities have done it, so I kind of understand where they're coming from, but I don't think it's going to impact the student body like that much.
Students should be mad about this.
I'm enraged. Like, come on now, why?
I don't really mind it because I don't have TikTok.
We live in the dorms, so we're constantly connected to the Wi-Fi, which is how we use most of our devices. And the fact that we're paying all this money to live here, we can't even use our phones the way we want to use them. Like, I don't know, I think it's dumb.
I think that TikTok is harmful for different ways than what they're banning it for.
I can see the argument for it with, you know, the state government being concerned about privacy and data access.
Here in UT Austin, you know, you can carry an open carried firearm, and yet you still have TikTok being banned.
I didn't actually realize how big of a deal it was until I saw it on national news.
I want to watch TikTok, which often I do. I just turn my data on and then I use it.
If the state of Texas wanted them to do it, I guess they kind of had to, but it's just kind of, it's weird.
I don't think they're out for students. I don't think they would do something to like get rid of a social media platform. I think really the main goal is just like making sure that they're protecting student data and like the school's data.
People can get around it very easily. I think it was more of a symbolic move.
It's kind of helped me like manage my time for studying. Like now I find myself spending less time on my phone.
It's giving more money to the cell phone companies, because imagine if you don't have unlimited data, then you're like, Mom, Dad, like I need unlimited data. Then you can watch TikTok however much you want.
Not having TikTok has given me a lot of help in my life, and I hope that they ban Twitter and Facebook next.
And we're back. I'm here with Angela Santos with all of our entertainment news. Angie, we are knee-deep in Academy Award season. What film has stuck out to you?
So you might have heard of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it's been all over social media, and for good reason. It's been a massive success since its release. It had a budget of $25 million, but it managed to rake in more than $100 million in the box office. It's now been nominated for Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Original Score, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Costume Design, and Best Film Editing. It's no surprise that the film is amazing. It'll make you laugh, cry, and really make you think about life. Personally, I believe everyone should see this movie.
Wow, that is quite the list of nominations. What can you tell us about the plot of this movie?
So, it follows the concept of the multiverse and infinite universes that contains versions of the possibilities in which every action or decision has been played out. This is combined with a family dynamic that has struggled to cope with their life decisions and, what could have been, what should have been, and just coming to terms with life itself and appreciating that.
Great, thank you, Angie. Now let's move on to the music world. What do we need to know?
So, you might have heard that Panic at the Disco has decided to disband, and Brendan Urie announced that it would be disbanded after his European tour, and he attributed this to wanting to focus more on his family, especially since he and his wife are expecting their first child, and it's so exciting, and I guess he wants to just focus on that and his family dynamic. And Urie was the last official member left since Ryan Ross and John Walker left the band in 2009 due to their creative differences.
Do you have any insider scoop on what those differences were?
Yes, so their differences were about what type of direction they wanted to move the band into music-wise. So Urie wanted more of a pop sound, while Ross and Walker were more interested in making retro-inspired rock. So obviously they had different types of genre and music in mind, and that ultimately led to their split.
Wow, interesting stuff. And I hear we have a new scandal, a new apology, rather. What's going on now? Who's apologizing for what?
So the Golden Raspberry Awards is a parody award show that celebrates the worst in Hollywood. However, they received immediate backlash when they nominated 12-year-old Ryan Kira Armstrong for Worst Actress. Founder John Wilson did apologize and removed her name from the category, as he should have. Additionally, they're also adding an age requirement, so you have to be 18 and older to be considered and nominated.
Thanks, Angie, for coming on, and as always, you can follow Texas News Primetime and TSTV News on social media just by searching Also, take us with you on the go by subscribing to our podcast, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. From all of us at TSTV News, thank you for starting your week with us this evening. Now, go out and change your world.